Thank you, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members. Honourable Members, I appear before you today to present and defend the rationale for the Public Order Amendment Bill 2025, a proposal born out of the deep concern of the safety of our people, the sanctity of our democratic institutions, and the need to safeguard constitutional rights in a manner that ensures public order. While Article 37 of our Constitution guarantees every Kenyan the right to assemble, demonstrate, picket, and present petitions to public authorities, it also qualifies that this right must be exercised peacefully and unarmed. The Constitution further provides in Article 24 that a right or fundamental freedom may be limited by law, where the limitation is reasonable and justifiable in an open and democratic society. Among the considerations outlined is the need to ensure that the enjoyment of rights by one person does not prejudice the rights and fundamental freedoms of others. Why is this amendment necessary? We are all aware of what has unfolded in recent months. Supermarkets looted, police stations and court buildings set on fire, police officers injured, women raped amidst the chaos, public calls to invade Parliament and State House circulated widely online. These are not peaceful protests. They are coordinated attacks on public order. And while the majority may have noble intentions, it takes a few rogue actors to turn rights into ruins. The bill is a direct response to that crisis. Before I go on, I want to recognize that we have lost a lot of youth in this process. And we as a country have to do something about that. And I believe that this has reached the highest office of the land. Parliament is also well informed about what we need to do in that area. We're all calling for police reforms, and we will do that, right? So while we know that that has happened, I mean, in 2017, we buried 97 people that were killed. So I come from the ODM party, and we know what it's like to lose lives. But even then, we can't bring back those lives. And I believe that the lives that have been lost with this Gen Z uprising also cannot be brought back. But if we actually put this order in place, then we will actually stop the loss of lives of innocent Kenyans, of protesters, as we reform the police as well. What the bill proposes is to clearly define public meetings and processions, introduce designated assembly and demonstration zones, gazetted in consultation with county governments, prohibit public gatherings within 100 meters of key institutions, namely Parliament, courts, protected areas under the Protected Areas Act, prescribe penalties for violations, not to criminalize protests, but to protect lives and infrastructure. The judicial precedent. Honourable members, the bill is not only constitutionally grounded, it also fulfills judicial guidance. In Gunjiri Wambugu versus Inspector General of Police and others in 2019, the High Court directed that the Inspector General and Cabinet Secretary of Interior formulate or amend laws and regulations to ensure demonstrations were peaceful, well managed, and well held in designated zones to protect public order. The bill enforces that ruling. When we look at Kenya, I really have to commend Judy for all the research that she's done and the examples that she's given across Africa. Countries around the world balance the right to protest and the need to preserve public safety. In the US, there are free speech zones at political events. In Great Britain, UK, and Scotland, buffer zones around clinics and courts. Let me explain about the buffer zones in the UK especially. We know that in the UK, safe abortions are legal, and anyone has a right to have an abortion. So what was happening is when people who were against safe abortion were beginning to actually have demonstrations around the clinics that offer this, they were doing two things wrong. One, they were blocking the entrance of people who wanted to go and procure a safe abortion. Two, they were actually also interfering with the privacy of the person who was actually going to that clinic. So they actually created a law that created a buffer zone so that the patients could go in with the privacy that they needed and also with the safety that was required. And also the nurses and doctors that were working in those clinics were also under attack. So the law was put in place to protect them. In Turkey, Turkey prohibits demonstrations within 1 kilometer of parliament. Europe, many European countries restrict protests near sensitive public institutions. This is not a suppression, it is structure. It is not silence, it is safeguard. Honourable members, let me be clear. The bill is not an attempt to muzzle dissent. It is a measure to ensure that protests are not hijacked by violence and that no Kenyan, be it a protester, a police officer, a bystander, suffers unjustly in the exercise of a right. Order is not the enemy of democracy, it is the foundation. We must protect the Republic from disorder and ensure that the exercise of one's right does not become the infringement of another's safety. I urge this committee to support the bill, not for the government, not for Parliament, but for every Kenyan who values peace, justice, and the rule of law. Honourable Chair, I know that, and I've seen a lot of queries coming up on whether my bill and the bill that was once before you, brought by the Honourable Ruku, now currently the CS, I felt that it's important that I show that there is a difference between the two bills because I know that that bill did not see the order of day. So for me, it's important to clarify that while Honourable Ruku's bill sought to regulate the conduct of demonstrators, my amendment of the Public Order Amendment Bill seeks to organize the environment in which demonstrations take place. Honourable Ruku's bill focused on the individual demonstrator, their actions, their behaviors, and potential criminal liability. Proposed strict penalties, including fines, jail terms for acts committed during protests, was seen by many as punitive and restrictive, risking criminalization of the protest itself. My amendment bill focuses on not on punishing people, but on planning the space where demonstrations will be held, where protests can take place, how close they can be to sensitive institutions, create designated zones for assembly, a preventive approach, not a punitive one. Ensures that the rights under Article 37 are exercised without prejudice to the rights and safety of others. The key distinction, Ruku's bill, regulated persons, and my bill creates structures for space. One is post-incident control, and the other is pre-incident management. This is not about limiting protests. It is about preserving safety and democracy through smart planning. My amendment offers a constitutional, court-supported, globally aligned solution to real challenges facing Kenya today on demonstrations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Passaris, for that very precise presentation. In fact, that will help us even to talk about the Ruku's proposal, which actually I wanted to highlight, which didn't see the light of the day. But I think you have really brought it up. But again, maybe to add, Ruku wanted to do to kind of a whole new set of things. It was not really even an amendment.